So I had an abortion. Best decision I ever made. Actually, one of the best decisions. I don't know if college is right up there, really close, but not having a child that I wasn't prepared to raise was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. And not co-parenting with an abusive person is one of the best decisions. Did you know that in more than 30 states in the United States, your rapist or abuser has the right to the same parenting rights that anyone else would have, even if in court they're proven to have raped you. My abuser knew that I was pregnant, and he was using that against me. He was telling me that I couldn't fight him because I was in this vulnerable state, and that if he told someone that I had looked into contraceptive or abortion options, that he was going to tell someone that, and then I wouldn't be able to see my child if I carried to term. And all of these things, I never thought of myself as becoming a parent. Like I've never, ever thought that I will. I'm never going to be a parent. I do not want to be a parent. I have puppies, and that is it. But when this happened, I thought there's no way that I'm going to carry to term against my better judgment and then have this abusive, controlling, psychotic person in my life and somehow still controlling my day-to-day because of that one time that we had sex and conceived. And that could be anybody, anytime. Birth control and contraceptives can fail anytime, and I was in this horrible situation where it happened with this person, and I Googled. I got on Google, and I from work where he couldn't see what I was doing, and I looked for abortion options because I just knew I couldn't see myself with this person for the next 18 years, even if it was just meeting up to swap custody when it was someone else's turn. There was no way that I wanted to be connected to him in any shape or form because he was violent and he was controlling and he was abusive. And when I Googled, I found this place called First Choice, which sounded like they might have options. Choice sounds like choices, right? So I went there. I made an appointment and I went over there, and they tried to tell me that first they told me that I was going to hell, and then they told me that I should marry my abuser because this was not an actual clinic. And it didn't matter that the people inside were wearing scrubs. They were not medical professionals. They were religious people who wanted to push their beliefs on me in whatever way they felt would change my mind. That they were so adamantly against abortion and against options that they would prefer to talk me into marrying someone who any licensed counselor would have heard from my testimony is abusive and dangerous and not healthy for me to be with. They wanted me to marry that person because that apparently is what they thought would prepare me for parenthood. That was very, very traumatic for me, and I ended up, when I left, I thought, that's it. That was the place. That was the only place in town, and I went there, and they don't actually offer abortion services, and I'm so fucked. I'm gonna have a kid with this guy, and basically he's gonna rule my day to day for the rest of my life, and called my grandmother and I said, I don't know what to do. I was very desperate. I was at the point that I thought, if there's some weird thing that I can find on Google that'll help me, some weird home remedy, there's got to be something, right? And my grandma, she said, I'm going to be supportive no matter what you do. We're going to figure this out. It's going to be okay. And I found out there's actually an abortion clinic within a few miles of my house, which is incredibly lucky because I live in Alabama and there are, I think, 3 or 5 clinics in the entire state. So for one to be that close to me, it was just the biggest privilege that I had in this whole situation. I was able to tell my abuser that I was going to work like a regular day and go instead to the clinic. I had to go 2 days prior and get my state mandated pre-abortion counseling. It's not actually counseling. I have to put it in air quotes because that is not, I've been to counseling. That's not counseling. That's a person reading a script that they clearly disagree with because they're a medical professional and nothing that they're reading is medically accurate at all. But I had to go and I had to hear this information and wait 48 hours. And then, so I did that on my lunch break and I was able to go act like I was going to work and then just go to this clinic and not be pregnant when I left. And that was just the best thing ever, just to know that at the end of this day, I'm not going to be pregnant anymore. I'm going to be able to break up with this guy. And that was part of my escape plan, was I had to not have a child with him. And I have since been through several support groups where I've met women who have had children with abusive men, and they go through so much struggle. I am so glad that I never had to do that I am completely free from that person, that there's nothing tying me to him. And I had my abortion and I left the clinic and I went home and told him that I had bled in the bathroom and that I thought maybe I'd miscarried at work. And he wanted to take me to the emergency room. And so I went and I had to have a transvaginal ultrasound. And I was told when I left the abortion clinic that there's nothing is supposed to go inside your vagina after that. And I did that because I had to, for my own safety with this person that I was very afraid of. I had to keep up that story. In fact, a protester at the clinic tried to take my picture when I walked in. And if he had gotten my picture and if he had been able to post it on social media, that could have put my life in danger. I've since had a conversation with that protester because I now volunteer at that clinic. And I told him that taking pictures of people could actually put their lives in danger. When you're dealing with a domestic violence situation like I was, and you're trying to just access medical care in private, that kind of thing is extremely personal, and it's between that woman and her provider. That's it. No one's going to anyone else's doctor's office and taking pictures when they're walking in. I'm posting them all over social media. But when I told him that, he said, I understand domestic violence. My mother was a victim at the hands of my dad, and I watched that growing up, and I'm so sorry, and I won't take pictures again. And a few weeks later, he was taking pictures again. And this is at Reproductive Health Services in Montgomery, Alabama. And if you've seen the movie Trapped, his cameras aren't really catching a whole lot, because we walk around with these huge umbrellas and cover all the patients as they walk into the clinic. And then there are these sprinklers on the lawn. That is the best watered lawn in the entire city of Montgomery. And you can't really bring a camera up close to them, so I really appreciate that. But one of those escorts covered me with an umbrella as I walked in, and that kept me safe in a very real way. And I was able to, after I had my abortion, I was able to go back to school. I was able to escape from that relationship and go back to school and get my master's. And now I actually wrote my thesis on the Hyde Amendment and all of these trap laws and all of these things that I had no idea were an issue at all until I tried to access abortion myself. And it's just so huge to me. It's this thing that I had no idea that there were so many people trying to take my rights away. I served in the military for 10 years, thinking I was defending my freedom and my rights, and I never defended my own freedom or my rights until I put on that orange vest in front of that clinic and defended the right to access reproductive freedom. That, to me, is real freedom. As a woman, if you cannot control your own reproductive rights, that is what freedom is. That is protecting freedom. And I just every day I thank June Ayers for answering the phone in that way, for saying she calls everyone baby. And when she answered the phone, when I'm in this horrible abusive relationship and all my friends have abandoned me, and I call the abortion clinic and she says, "No, it's gonna be okay, baby, it's gonna be okay." That was that glimmer of hope that I fucking needed. And I hug her every time I see her, and I love her to death. I will not stop until everyone has the right to access abortion, safe abortion, legal abortion, and access it. Making it legal isn't enough. It needs to be accessible. The Hyde Amendment keeps so many women from accessing abortion. It is ridiculous. There's no other medical procedure that is legislated in the way that abortion is. There's no other medical procedure that people say, oh, Medicaid shouldn't cover that, and our tax dollars shouldn't fund that. Your tax dollars fund women to have children that they then cannot afford to care for. Labor and delivery costs more than 5 times the price of funding abortion. And we need to be funding abortion and birth control and sex education, because I didn't get sex education. I had a woman come into my 7th grade classroom and say, if you have sex, you'll get pregnant. That was it. I never knew what a condom was. And this has become my calling. It's public health, and it's teaching people how to take care of their own health. We can tell each other to eat fruits and vegetables, but children need to know about consent, and young adults need to know about condoms, and people have sex. People have sex. That's a thing. And abortion is a medical procedure. When someone's pregnant, that pregnancy has to end in some way. And abortion is one of the ways that it can end. In fact, it's a safer way that it can end than childbirth. And that needs to be funded. That needs to be protected. That needs to be a right that is undeniable, that's accessible, and that people can afford. And that's why I'm in this fight, and I'm in it for the long haul.